I don't know about you guys, but I usually stay away from leaks because I want to be excited about the games that are coming out. So I don't always look into leaks. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I don't. I know famously for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, there's always been fake leaks and then Grinch leaks and then this leaks and then that leak. So when it comes to Smash Bros., I look into the characters that are going to be leaked. But when it comes into a lot of the big single player games that I love and that I've been playing for decades and something leaks, I usually don't look into it too much. But that kind of changed a little bit with the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, because this is one of my favorite games of all time with Breath of the Wild. Literally, for me at least, it really rejuvenized Zelda for my own personal playing experience. Where in the past, we've been constantly doing the same dungeon stuff over and over, and I thought there wasn't a lot of innovation outside of just perfection of their own craft. I felt that Breath of the Wild came in and just really shook things up and did things differently, and it hit me in a way that no other Zelda game has hit me since Ocarina of Time, or maybe even the original Legend of Zelda on the NES. So when Breath of the Wild came out, it just came out at such a great time, and I felt that it did so many different things. So with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom being announced back in 2019, I was completely ecstatic, but it's been how many years now? It's been like 4 years, and we've gotten so few bits of information, so my curiosity could not help me. I just could not help me, so I had a look into the leaks with the art book of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and I will not be showing any of the pictures here for fear of a strike from Nintendo or from whatever the case is, you know, Nintendo of America, Nintendo of Japan, Nintendo of Europe, Nintendo of whatever, Mr. Anuma Miyamoto coming from Nintendo World to come get my channel. So I'm not going to show the pictures, but I am going to say this. Goodness gracious, I think this game is not only going to be way more spectacular than The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but it's going to top it. Now, in my opinion, based off of just some of the stuff that we've seen in the art book, it is going to thrash it, because there are things in this game, right, that they showed off that we're just not ready for. And if all pans out, that's what is in the art book. It is literally not only just a improvement over, it's not a baseline improvement over the original, like some people are saying with Octopath Traveler 1 to Octopath Traveler 2, but it is kind of taking it and putting it on its head and then saying, let's times that by 4 or 5. There are a few things, which I've been saying before in my previous videos. If you've watched my Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom videos, if you've watched those, there are a few things that I've been saying, like, hey guys, we gotta wait and see. This game's gonna be so much better. There's going to be a lot of stuff that Nintendo isn't talking about yet, and they're really just holding off. And this art book, if it actually comes true, if all that stuff in there is not just them saying ideas and it doesn't seem to be that way, there are going to be some things in this game that are just going to blow your mind. At least it blew my mind when I was looking through it. So the leaks are out there. I saw the Tears of the Kingdom leaks on Nintendo Everything. So I will say, if you want to see it, you can just look up The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom leaks, Nintendo Everything, and they have the art book leaks there. But just be careful if you're trying not to get spoiled about it. You might want to mute it on Twitter or mute it on whatever, or take whatever precautions that you can. But I will say this, after looking through it, it's not like everything in the whole game is ruined for you. So if you look at that, it's not like you're gonna know everything that happens in the game and now there's no point in playing or anything like that. It's characters, it's locations, it's some things that you get in the game, it's some stuff, and one of them in particular made me very excited, which is why I said that we have to kind of, like, people are talking about like just DLC or just an expansion. I'm like, no, this is a full on like sequel plus. There's a lot of really cool ideas and things in this game, and I think that the biggest thing that this shows here, which this isn't going to be a spoiler guys, but the biggest thing that this shows is that they are fleshing this game out. The Legend of Zelda, in my opinion, based on what I've seen, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is the base of what they probably want to do going forward in the future and what's happening. At least I think that Tears of the Kingdom is the complete model, is the complete house built upon the base and built upon the framework And on top of that, it's the front lawn, it's the back lawn, it's like the gates, it's the side, it's the fence, it's the mailbox, it's everything else that you need to complete that house. It's everything else. Breath of the Wild is fantastic. You need that base, you need the architecture, you need the framework, you need the good solid structure. It's all of that, and it's fantastic. But man, they really fleshed out everything that people had an issue with in Breath of the Wild. Based on what I've seen here, it looks like it's far more in depth in terms of where you can go. It looks like it's far more fleshed out when it comes to certain characters. It looks like it's going to have way more content, and not only just content, but meaningful content with interactions with characters and also locations and places and the story. That's one of the biggest things that I've been harping on here with what they needed to improve. Now, I'm a minimalist guy. I don't mind when stories kind of go a minimalist route as long as like the lore and backstory and everything connects and it's well done. So I didn't really mind Breath of the Wild in terms of how they did things. I mean, memories in terms of telling stories aren't my favorite thing, but at the same time, like, hey, it still works for what they were trying to do and how the lore of the Calamity War and 100 years ago and all of that stuff, it all sets up that way. And I love when there's time at play. Like if there's like hundreds of years or thousands of years in between, I love that because all sorts of stuff can be lost or found through time. So I love when stories do that. But I think that with this game, not only are they going to be connecting everything when it comes down to it, but you're going to get a clear picture of what is happening, the characters, who these people are, what's going on, and so much more. So it's exciting in that realm, in that possibility. It's so exciting to see them have that time and, like, goodness gracious, the budget. I don't even want to sit here and think about how much this game costs. But hopefully I'm not over exaggerating for those that have already seen the leaks or everything. It just tells me that a ridiculous amount of care, time, effort, love, passion, whatever else you want to say, is being built into this game. And when Nintendo actually decides to show us more, because I think there will be a full Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Direct focused solely on the game, I think a lot of these things that I'm talking about will become very clear. And even if you've seen the leaks, a lot of the things based around it, or a lot of the things in there, are going to all come together and you're going to be like, wow, they did that, they added that, that's in the game. I wonder when that's going to be used. Goodness gracious, I'm going to be playing this game for 1,000 hours or something like that. That's exactly what I was thinking after I saw that, because it was just fleshing out a lot of the issues with Breath of the Wild 1, and it was adding brand new ideas on top of that. And oh, by the way, look at all these areas, look at all these characters, look at all this different stuff that you can do. Oh, by the way, did we say that you can have this thing and this thing and this thing? Oh, and also check out this from what you already know from the trailers that we've shown off. Oh, by the way, check out this. Oh, by the way, this game is just super clean with everything that they're doing. So I think that's the most exciting thing for me, is that you're taking a game that many people already felt was a 10 out of 10. People felt was already incredibly good, myself included, and I just had so much fun with that game. And now you're really turning it into a full, complete package in every single area when it comes to characters, story, gameplay, graphics. Everything is just fleshed out and it all comes together in one for quite possibly the perfect package here for a sequel of a Zelda game. I don't think we've seen anything to the level of this. Now, we've seen times where they come out and talk about things and everything like, hey, here is the next game. Like you have like Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks or Wind Waker or whatever the case is, and like they have like a follow-up to a game, but there's been nothing like this. It's a follow-up to a game, but it's also a complete new game in a way that's going to be experienced differently for every single person that plays the game. I think that the tools that are in there, what the game offers, I mean, Breath of the Wild was already crazy in terms of uniqueness and individuality for each person playing, but I think a lot of that was based on how many different buttons you can press and what type of different things that you can make on your own and how you manipulate stasis and all that. And that's cool, that's great. But now I think that with Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, because of the fully and bigger fleshed out experience overall, and you combine that with the locations and the areas and everything to back up that, plus you still have a lot of those tools that was in the first game, plus other tools that are already standard in there that you don't need to be I don't know, like a quantum mechanist or something like that to figure out in the game, and you're going to get a highly customizable and creative experience that's going to literally leave a lasting impression on pretty much everybody who plays the game. So you can hear it in my voice. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really, really good. And I really think that by the time this game comes out, at least right before, you know, May's coming, right? So whenever Nintendo decides to do the Direct, I think that is when the bombshells will be dropped. And all of the DLC concerns, oh, this is just a DLC expansion, this is just that, it looks the same, I think that's going to evaporate into thin air, like just literally disintegrate, which I actually call like, hey, look guys, it's not just DLC, there's going to be a lot more. Here's what they're fixing based off of the little bit that we've seen. But now that there's actually more information out there, like I said, I hope I'm not exaggerating when it comes down to this. I hope it's like not cap or anything, but I don't think that it is, because based off of what I saw, based off of what's out there at this point, they're fleshing everything out, then they're adding really cool things on top of that, and we don't know everything. That's just a few different pages. I mean, there could be leagues and scores more of stuff that's in the game, but to me, it's a full experience. It's a well-rounded one based off of what I saw, and I cannot wait until Nintendo actually shows us this in motion, because it's one thing to flip through a page book or an art book and to see things. It's another thing to actually experience it. Heck, I've looked through Breath of the Wild art books and that's great, but playing Breath of the Wild is the ultimate experience when it comes down to it. So I think that this is cool, and yeah, it gives us some ideas and everything, and I'm pretty sure that Nintendo isn't very happy with this art book leaking. But at the same time, like, I think that this is going to get people excited, and videos are going to pop up in terms of people that are smart and not actually show it. Don't show it, you can get in trouble. But it's going to be exciting to see people talk about it and more buzz and more hype. The game is already #1 selling on Amazon when it comes to releases. People went out there and pre-ordered it faster than you can say $70. So I think that this is only going to be a driving, motivating factor for people to be excited about the game, and for people to look forward to the game and look forward to Nintendo actually having that Direct on the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, or at least just having a big overview trailer and just talking about it more. Maybe it's not a complete Direct, but I think that there's going to be a big info blowout very soon at this point. And I do think that since these leaks are out there, I mean, you're probably going to want to do it more sooner than later. But I also say this too with this: if you take this long to make your game, it's almost inevitable that leaks will come out. I mean, we saw this with Fire Emblem Engage. We've seen it with so many other games just because you're taking way too long. But if you make the game, then release it in a shorter time period, then you probably don't get as many leaks. But I feel sorry for the team. It sucks, but at the end of the day, man, I think that this just gets people more hyped. This just gets Zelda fans more lit and more hyped for the game. And I think that a lot of the things in terms of issues that was in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild will be addressed here, and will be addressed to, like, not just like A, like let's say you did an exam and everything, it's an A, but no, it's like a S, SSS plus or something like that. It's being addressed and then some. So exciting times for Legend of Zelda fans, exciting times for people that have the Nintendo Switch, or people that are looking forward to the game, or whatever the case is, man. So it's going to be really fun. But make sure you guys check out some of my other videos that I've already done on the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I am hyped about the game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I discussed some stuff with people saying about the sales or about other things. So if you're interested in anything like that when it comes to Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, I've got it right here, links in the description, or you can check it out right here on your screen as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you for the next one. Peace.